A glorious morning, everyone, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. May the Lord bless us all according to his riches in glory. I would like to welcome all the participants, presenters, the steering committee, the panel of evaluators in the fourth Asian Virtual Conference on Institutional and Action Research. I am Jomar Aban, and I am a faculty member in the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, North La Union Campus, Philippines. I am also presently working as the college education research facilitator. Most important of all, I am a Christian redeemed not by silver or gold, but by the precious blood of our Lord Jesus Christ. Thus, I give the highest praise, glory, and honor to the one who deserves it all, and that's Jesus. Our university, the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, is located in the northern Philippines. It is the only state university in the province of La Union. Last week was our university's 41st foundation anniversary celebration, and with our university mantra, embracing world-class standards, our academe is focused on producing high-end research outputs and Scopus/ISI index publications, as well as world-class conferences such as this, the AVCIAR 2022, to help not only to put our locale in a better societal status, but also in placing our country into greater heights. This research is entitled A Locus Classicus CAP, Knowledge, Attitudes, Practices Study on Various Teaching Pedagogies by Educators of Elementary Education, Northern Philippines. This research was crafted to address issues related to teaching pedagogies. The lesson we learned from this study is substantial, especially in this present pandemic, where there is a war, and this pandemic has wreaked havoc not only in the economy, but also in the academic sector. Let me now, therefore, take you to a journey crucial in many different aspects. Buckle your seatbelts and let us enjoy the ride. An educator has so much running in his or her head. What am I teaching? How will I teach it? Who am I teaching? How will I know if the students understand? These are just some of the questions that ought an answer. And these are some of the things that would run through a mind of an educator. At its core, content knowledge and pedagogy need to be properly combined, and the teacher should know how to strike the balance and get the best of both worlds. As a teacher who teaches content without pedagogy, you may train the head, but it will not strike the heart. Consequently, if you're a teacher who knows pedagogy without content, this would make a learner's brain empty. It is therefore significant for a teacher to fill both the mind and the heart of the learner. In essence, the content and pedagogy is crucial for effective learning. Effective teaching leads to authentic learning. This means that what has been learned in the four-cornered classroom has transcended into something beneficial to the learner, and that is further transcended to having the community benefit from it. This authentic learning is easier said than done, with a lot of crucial intertwining processes of content, pedagogy, technology, and other academic attitudes. Authentic learning is certainly challenging to achieve. Let us zoom in further into the pedagogy. Pedagogy is as crucial as content and technology. Therefore, this is a specific parameter that must be taken into full consideration. Every institution has their own cultural way of dealing with content knowledge. It is a multi-level and it is diverse. So as the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, are the pedagogies we are using being used the right way? Are they used the proper way? These are critical questions that must be fully grasped for us to have authentic learning. In the midst of this pandemic, DIMSU's teaching and learning schemes have been altered. All of us have been affected without any exemptions. Our pedagogies shifted. The only question left for us to resolve is that, have we become resilient enough to overcome challenges and sustain excellence? This is a novel pedagogical framework that shows the locus classicus CAP approach. Locus classicus being the most effective way to deal with the CAP liaison. This is for the elements to be iterative and cyclical. As we see here, 4 commonly used teaching pedagogies such as the lecture method, cooperative learning, inquiry-based learning, and learning with emphasis to communication skills will be subjected to the CAP liaison, which we will see in a little while. So for this research, we want to determine the level of awareness, attitudes, and utilization of elementary education educators to the 4 commonly used teaching pedagogies: lecture method, cooperative learning, inquiry-based learning, and learning with emphasis to communication skills. We also want to see if the CAP of the involved stakeholders are affected by sex, age, work status, educational attainment, and length of service. The output will be used to create a synergistic pedagogical model to enhance the learning experience of the elementary education educators. For the research design and sampling technique, this research utilized an educational descriptive quantitative design. This type of research design established on previously published related literature. And we also see here that we're going to use, we used purposive sampling. 20 faculty members from the BE department was taken as selected respondents to determine their knowledge, attitudes, and practices to the 4 educational pedagogies. The following are the 4 parameters which determine the selection of these respondents. The faculty members should have an active teaching role in the College of Education. Number 2, the faculty members should have assigned workloads in the BE department. They must have, the third one is that they must be familiar with the enumerated educational pedagogies. Number 4 is that the respondents should not be full-time administrators in the college. For the data gathering instrument, 3 apparent elements in the CAP liaison: the knowledge, attitudes, and practice was placed in the questionnaire. And basically, for the interpretation and the statistical analysis, the awareness of the faculty members was measured using the % correct answers. Attitudes of the respondents were determined using weighted means, and the extent of utilization was also determined using weighted means. SPSS version 20 was used to analyze the numerical data and to compute for the analysis of variance. Shift-way post-hoc test was used to determine the significant differences among the different treatment groups. These 3 methodological principles serve as the foundational stone in the development of a novel theoretical pedagogical model. This means that without these 3 methodological principles, we cannot establish this novel theoretical pedagogical model. This slide shows the awareness of BE-Ed faculty members on various teaching pedagogies. As observed from the table above, the respondents have high awareness of the inquiry-based learning. The respondents have moderate awareness of the 3 other pedagogies: the lecture method, cooperative learning, and learning with emphasis on communication skills. It is intriguing to note that the respondents have the lowest knowledge on the lecture method. The respondents may have had misconceptions on the use of these different pedagogies as far as the measurement of knowledge is concerned. Pedagogical misconceptions may negatively alter the expected outputs of certain pedagogies. It is therefore necessary for us to have a good knowledge foundation on the different teaching pedagogies as measured by Clickman et al. 2013. The attitudes of the BE-Ed faculty members on the different pedagogies are shown in this slide. It can be observed that the respondents have a strongest consensus to use cooperative learning. This is followed by a positive attitude on the use of lecture method, inquiry-based learning, and learning with emphasis on communication skills. The positive attitude of respondents inform us about their potential use for these enumerated pedagogies. The positive attitude of respondents inform us about their potential use on these pedagogies as mentioned earlier. These are the reason why they would prefer certain pedagogies and they would not prefer others. According to Millot and Lane 2002, teachers consider the good use of time. They also consider the enjoyment of the students in the utilization of a certain pedagogy. And likewise, they also have a positive attitude towards the pedagogy if they know that it's going to be effective for student learning. Now, this slide presents the extent of utilization of various teaching pedagogies by the respondents. Cooperative learning appeared to have the highest numerical mean, followed by lecture method, learning with emphasis on communication skills, and then inquiry-based learning. The four pedagogies sometimes used by the faculty respondents. This means that at present, both the student-centered pedagogies like the cooperative learning, inquiry-based learning, and learning with emphasis on communication skills are used, and likewise teacher-centered pedagogy such as the lecture method is also utilized by the educators at the elementary education here at our institution, College of Education, North La Union campus. In this slide, we now present the awareness, attitudes, and extent of utilization of the four pedagogies as group according to sex. Numerically, the male respondents appear to have higher knowledge, more positive attitude, and higher extent of utilization compared to female respondents. However, these weighted means are not statistically significant. In the study of Duke and Victoria, 1989, it was revealed that when they grouped faculty members according to sex, it did not have any significant effects on college instruction. They found out that effective teaching is still the most valuable stimulus on teaching evaluations. The knowledge, attitudes, and practice of these four pedagogies were grouped according to age and are presented in this specific slide. It numerically appears that older faculty members have higher awareness and extent of utilization of the four teaching pedagogies. Contrary, it is numerically observed that the youngest respondents have the more positive attitude on the given pedagogies. Though numerical values show differences, these are not statistically significant, which indicates that the awareness, attitudes, and extent of utilization of the four method of teaching, lecture method, cooperative learning, inquiry-based learning, and learning with emphasis on communication skills are comparable across the given parameter. In this specific table, it shows the awareness, attitudes, and extent of utilization of pedagogies as group according to work status. Faculty members holding permanent positions has numerically higher mean pedagogical awareness and utilization compared to contractual faculty members and those holding with temporary position. Subsequently, the highest numerical mean on attitudes was observed for faculty members having temporary position. Though these were observed differences, these are just numerical differences, but they're not statistically significant. Now, the effect of work status and effective teaching on the evaluation of college instruction could basically appear here. However, we can see no significant difference. Instead, we see, according to some published literature, that effective teaching could be achieved through effective pedagogy, and it would have the most significant effect on teaching evaluation. The respondents perceive awareness, attitudes, and utilization of lecture, cooperative learning, and inquiry-based learning, and learning with emphasis on communication skills as group according to highest educational attainment is reported in this specific slide. It can be observed that numerically, the doctorate degree holders have the highest awareness and extent of utilization of the different pedagogies. Ironically, they appear to have the lowest numerical mean on attitude. Master's degree holders appear to have the highest attitude on the different pedagogies. Bachelor degree holders appear to have the lowest awareness, extent of pedagogical utilization as well. The above weighted means may seem to differ numerically, but again, they are not statistically significant. The result of the study is congruent to the research of Dukes and Victoria in 1989, where they determined the effects of work status and effective teaching on evaluation and college instruction. It appears that work status has an effect, but it's not a significant effect at all. And still, we go back to having teaching effectiveness to be the most important element that would affect the entire learning. This present research shows that educational attainment does not change the perception of respondents on the awareness, attitudes, and utilization of teaching pedagogies. However, according to the research of Salberg 2010, Finnish teachers take advantage to pursue higher education. All teachers should have master's degree. They also take advantage to pursue doctorate degree in education. All this strategies point out to have effective pedagogies to improve quality teaching and learning. This specific slide presents the awareness, attitudes, and extent of utilization of various teaching and pedagogies as group according to the length of service. And like the previous results, it appears that there are numerical differences, but statistically speaking, there are no numerical differences among the parameters enumerated. Though it seemed that the length of service, teaching service, appeared to have no effect on the awareness, attitudes, and extent of utilization in the 4 pedagogies by respondents, the research of Tang and Chamberlain says otherwise. According to their research, length of service had an impact on faculty perception, the rewards influencing teaching, hence rank, tenure, and length of service influenced attitudes of faculty members towards teaching. With those above results, ladies and gentlemen, we now present the proposed synergistic pedagogical model where cooperative learning is proposed to be the primary teaching strategy, and this is synergistically intertwined secondarily with the traditional lecture method, and that inquiry-based learning and learning with emphasis with communication skills can be used as support pedagogies to make an educator's teaching impact relevant and authentic. The proposed synergistic pedagogical model is formulated to intertwine the captured awareness, attitudes, and practices of the BEd faculty members on the 4 commonly used teaching pedagogies. Synergistic teaching pedagogy is a new concept where a planned decision and utilization of the different pedagogies will be implemented. The use of various teaching pedagogies are affected by educators' perceived effects and enjoyment of certain pedagogies. With the educator's preference to learner-centered pedagogies, there is still a need to synergistically intertwine such pedagogies to the old and traditional pedagogies to achieve authentic learning. This is done so that the weakness of one pedagogy will be compensated by another pedagogy. Henceforth, the impact of the paper is seen in a bird's eye view. Teaching pedagogies translated to authentic and lifelong learning builds the nation. A nation's economic growth and development is therefore dependent to learning and higher education. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end by asking you a question. What does life mean for you? If you have gotten everything that this world has offered, what would life mean to you? It says in Mark 8:36, "What shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world, but would lose his own soul?" Consider eternity. Therefore, you must consider Jesus Christ, because he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. I'd like to say God bless you all, and thank you for listening.